I am absolutely honored today to introduce each of you to Angeline Bell and hope you will enjoy a glimpse of her creative process and be inspired to learn and teach her music. Angeline, I was first introduced to your music when I saw samples of Shifting Shadows and Squeezy the Squirrel in a pedagogy group we both belong to online. Right away, I loved the expressive storytelling of your music, and so I thought we would allow our audience to join us as we dive into how you create your music. And before we immerse ourselves in your compositions, how did you get started in music yourself?
Right, I started piano lessons when I was 6 years old, and I passed my grade 8 when I was 14, and then I did a diploma when I was 16, and then I came to the UK to study for my A levels, and then I went to university to study music.
Oh, that's tremendous. And what a
Yeah.
testament to your hard work and detail to progress at that rate through and then move into more music making as you move to the UK. That's really wonderful. Did you always create music at the piano or did that come later in your music journey?
I was born in Malaysia. In Malaysia, there was a Sunday school, and I was asked to write a theme song for my team. Um, we were all broken into different teams, and I was 12 when I wrote a song, Christian song for my church in Malaysia. And then when I moved to the UK, when I went to university, I was writing worship songs for my Christian union. And then when I went to Three Bridges Free Church, I started writing children's holiday Bible club theme songs. So I wrote songs about Abraham, Elijah, Moses, all the characters in the Bible. And I didn't actually start writing piano music until I had COVID last year, March 2022. So my daughter, my husband, and myself, so for 3 weeks, I couldn't teach piano. And I just bought a Kawai digital piano that had this record option with a USB memory stick.
Right.
And so I started composing during those 3 weeks that I couldn't teach. And I thought, hey, I don't have to think about lyrics. I just think about piano music. And it just, before long, in those 3 weeks, had composed 6 pieces. And I uploaded them onto SoundCloud, and then I shared them for free on Facebook. And that's where you saw me
Yes.
on the Facebook group. And you were very, very encouraging. And you liked Squeezy the Squirrel. You made a video on it, and yeah, so that was really exciting. So my friends encouraged me to try and get them published, and I'm a big fan of Ben Crossland's Cool Beans books.
Yes.
And so I Googled Editions Musicaferum, and I found the phone number, and I phoned up Nicola Sideris, and he was really encouraged, and he saw your video,
Oh, neat.
Yeah, he saw I sent him the link to your Squeezy the Squirrel video. It was hilarious, by the way, Amy. Those bloopers at the end, hilarious. So anyway, he was really, really enthusiastic, really keen to have me on board. And like I said, I only had 6 pieces. And I said, I'm going to keep writing, and I wrote until I had 40 pieces.
Wow.
And some days it was 1 piece a day, but most days it's like 1 piece every 2 or 3 days. And so we came up with lots of ideas, but then he observed that my pieces fell into 2 camps: romantic lyrical pieces and ones with lots of animals and jazz and bossa nova, tango, salsa, all these dances from around the world, Ireland, China. And so we came up with the idea, let's have a lyrical notebook and a quirky notebook. So that's what we did.
That's just so beautiful. I absolutely love how, sometimes in life there's these little moments of opportunity. Like when you mentioned that at 12 you were able to compose for a Sunday school theme. And I think what a special little seed that was planted there as far as being creative and sharing that as a gift to others, and how that kind of even if it wasn't what you did lots of in that season, it kind of planted a seed for the future. And I love that part of your early works were ministry. I know I share having been involved in church music and worship music. So that's really special to hear that that was part of your creativity process. And the
Yeah,
first thing I thought too is with your piano works, the aspect of not having to also work around lyrics
yeah,
must have been kind of freeing too. New opportunities there as well.
yeah,
Uh,
and it's all free to download. All my Christian music is free.
oh,
christianmusicforkids.com.
oh, that's wonderful. I've not explored that, so I'll have to take a look at that for sure because that's something I love as well. So I love that this is kind of your piano composing anniversary this month. Then we're here at the end of March, and so that's been something that you've been doing now for a year. You're extraordinarily prolific, and I know that we can't wait to dive in to hear what your creative process is because not everyone just has that sort of ability to create at that pace that you took on. And so I have your notebooks here, a beautiful, beautiful collection. And so for those of you in the audience listening on in, this is my Lyrical Notebook by Angeline, and it's got this beautiful cover art and beautiful quality produced by Musica Ferrum. And this is my Quirky Notebook, and you can see it here, and a tremendous vibrant collection. So we're going to get into taking a peek at the music in and the creative inspirations. They truly feel like a collector's album. So a couple times I've actually recommended people like if you're looking for a special gift for a music teacher or a student who's in this level, this is a beautiful kind of collector's edition, as well as just one you'll want to have on your piano in the living room. So I love that. So, one of your gifts, again, as a composer, Angeline, is to find inspiration in the world around you. And I feel that teachers, students, and fellow composers would so love to hear of your creative process. So, today we were thinking together that leaping into a few of your specific pieces would be fun and to kind of get a sneak peek of how you approached writing them. The first piece I played of yours, like we mentioned, was Squeezy the Squirrel, and it gave me a huge amount of laughs because I'm a spontaneous person and I leapt into recording that probably a little too fast. So there was a lot of bloopers because I learned it that day and just went in and recorded it. But it gave me a lot of smiles thinking of this mischievous squirrel,
yeah.
and I'm glad it gave some laughs too. Can you show us some examples of some ways you tried to describe the movement of specific animals like the spider or ant invasion or sloth ballet?
My garage is full of spiders, and it's full of cobwebs, and I just we don't like going into the garage, but it's been refurbished now, so he hasn't got as many spiders as it did. But so I just thought of this minor key and something creepy crawly. So it's got these notes that are high up, huge leaps, like from here
Mhm.
to here. It's like, just to give that really creepy sound,
Yeah,
of a spider walking really, really, really slowly. So it had
yeah.
to be minor key, and it had to be slow, and it had to be creepy.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I could really envision as I listened to that with that new thought of the movement of the spider, I really felt like it's little. Hopefully, no one here has arachnophobia. I apologize if so. Fast forward here. But I imagined its little like legs kind of reaching out for the next place it was going on its web. And so I think it did a beautiful job of both the mood of the minor key and of the way it was moving across the web. So I hope that the listeners, I will link all these pieces so you can hear the full piece and be thinking of these creative ways that Angeline's expressed this in music. So let's hear about ant invasion.
And I thought, oh no, the lawn's looking horrible because it's got an ant's nest on it. And I had to break it up with a fork. And all these ants came out. And I was imagining that they were marching, a bit like something out of Star Wars, or that they were soldiers. So I had them, actually, they were right down here. So I wanted to use the chromatic scale.
Yes.
To explore on that. So that's why there's lots of chromatics to make it sound like they're hostile. And of course, it had to be staccato. It had to be low down register to
Oh,
the field and of ants. Trying to bite me and really
yeah.
angry. I had destroyed their home, but
Yeah.
because this level lawn was spoiled by this mound in the middle. And
Oh. I love how you also speak to the fact that when we're out doing life as musicians and creatives, we can come across our next ideas. And I think sometimes people think, composers are just, over their piano or at their desk all the time. And I love that those little glimpses of the outside world like work in a circle to bring back that creativity too. So that's neat to think of that real life experience that brought that about. And I love the low sound and the staccato, like you said, it really does sound marching, and that they're pretty fierce in protecting their hill out in your
yeah,
yard. So that's beautiful. So now Sloth Ballet is another one, again in my Quirky Notebook, I believe. And so that's let's hear how that was created.
I think sloths are cute,
They
really,
are.
really cute. And I imagine a sloth was wearing a tutu and was a ballet, but being slow, the music has to be slow. So.
That's wonderful. And yes, sloths are so sweet looking. And I love that you've really depicted this peaceful movement of a sloth. The melody as well. So the accompaniment just kind of moving so slowly, and then the melody soaring in really beautiful ways. And actually, this reminded me of friend and concert pianist Sarah Hagen. She often has added or encouraged youth and others to add visuals to their piano recitals. And when you were saying that, I thought, oh my goodness, this would be a tremendous collection to actually add visuals on the screen of real animals doing these interesting movements as they play. So that's really neat. Yeah.
I've got a new book coming out.
Oh, yes. Let's hear more about it.
And it's got lots of animals in it. It's got hedgehog, and it's got a golden koi, which is a Japanese carp. It's got an owl, and really excited. I only received this today.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to go to print and it'll be published later this year.
Oh,
Um, so I'll play a few seconds of the golden koi.
yeah. Let's hear that.
It's got a flavor of Japanese because koi is a Japanese carp. So that's just a flavor of my third book, My Garden Notebook.
Oh, that's so wonderful. And like, let's just pause here and talk about the levels. I didn't add this into our conversation, but can you tell us a little bit more about what level the garden notebook will be compared to
Yes,
the other ones?
I've used it with my beginners and they've coped with it fine. But theoretically, from
Yeah.
1 to 5, maybe RSM UK.
Yeah, wonderful. So I love that the garden notebook will kind of give an introduction to your music, and then students can grow into the My Quirky Notebook and My Lyrical Notebook. And I like how you reference that theoretical side. Some of yours have advancing techniques, and yet there is some aspects that could be taught by rote or different ways of nurturing
Yeah,
students at early stages.
a lot of my pupils couldn't play the pieces in my lyrical notebook and my quirky notebook, and they felt left out because I
Yeah,
was, oh, I've produced these books, and then can I play? Oh no, it's too hard. And I thought, I've got to compose something for my beginners and grade ones and twos. So that's how the garden notebook came out.
exactly. That's wonderful. So I love that this garden notebook is going to give such a great entry into your pieces and that students will be able to move into more of your music. And I also love that your collection has quite a few pieces in each collection. So there's a lot of value there. Is it a specific number? Yes,
Um,
20.
the garden notebook is going to be 24 pieces, and I must say,
Oh.
I must mention Rebecca Harry's. Um, she's the graphic designer, and her work is wonderful. So big thank you to Rebecca Harry.
Yes, a huge thanks. I just love how these pieces just have this like whimsical, this is my lyrical notebook, and just beautiful, vibrant colors. And then the same with the fox here with kind of an ode to Squeezy the squirrel and the foxtrot and the toucan. So I love that there's little hints about what's inside when we look at the cover. And I know same with the garden notebook. So then the next thing that really is a theme in your pieces is about how you've included a lot of dance ideas in your collection. So I was curious about how you went around creating music with those dances in mind.
I love Latin Brazilian friends, and they have a little daughter called Laura, and I dedicated Bossa Nova Baby to
Oh.
her because I love, and pyramid dance, for example, came out because I saw an Egyptian goose
Mhm.
in the park, and the way it waddles
Oh.
from side to side as this goose was walking, so it came out. So it's to do with the D minor harmonic scale. So it's got this kind of
Yeah.
waddling. It's actually inspired by a goose.
Buy a goose, and I love that I wouldn't have thought about it. So this again is such a treat for our audience to hear from the creators of this music and from you, Angeline.
And bossa nova is this. So that kind of very syncopated. It's quite tricky to play, but I've never been to Brazil. I would love to go and watch the festivals and all that samba stuff. And yeah, so we've got salsa. So apparently salsa's from Cuba.
Yeah.
So we've got it's that kind of rhythm, that kind of syncopated rhythm. I love syncopations. They're a real, they're quite difficult to play for beginners or whatever. But
Yeah.
once you get into it, they're really, really fun to play. And then I've got a tango from Argentina. Who doesn't love a tango, hey?
Exactly. Yeah, well, that just brings to life so much music. And I love how we're kind of transported to different places through these songs. So even though they have this playful imagery of the different animals that you've represented in the My Quirky Notebook and different places, the dances really give us a cultural experience too.
Yeah.
And I found too that with students, we sometimes, or at least myself, I used to just feel like the students wanted to play, the latest popular piece or things like that, and that's wonderful. But what I'm noticing is as we introduce students to a wide variety of music, sometimes something just clicks. Like a student might hear a salsa and they're thinking, I've never heard a salsa on my Spotify playlist, and yet I love it. So I think as educators, that's what really got me excited about your collections is it felt like in this three now going to be three books, we can introduce our students to such a vast array of musical ideas. They're creative, they're challenging. Your music does move all over the place, but I love that aspect too because sometimes we can introduce new thoughts. Like sometimes if students are only playing the keys in front of them, we don't have opportunity to talk about balance at the keyboard and movement and motion and stability from the floor. So I feel like there's lots of aspects in your compositions that really create for great teaching opportunities too. So I really love that aspect.
Yeah, I've just realized that I've mainly talked about pieces from the Quirky Notebook. I haven't mentioned um, pieces from the Lyrical Notebook.
Yeah.
Someone's done a really nice video on it, so maybe they can watch the video instead. I mean, these ones are inspired by places I have visited as well. Like I visited
Yes.
Tivoli Gardens in Denmark, and so I
Beautiful.
wrote a piece about that. And then Bluebell was after a walk in Wakehurst, so they were in Somerset. Clouds was when I was on holiday in Somerset. And then so they're all inspired by places I visited or things that have happened. So
Yes.
I read about them in the performance notes, but I thought for this interview it was more interesting to talk about animals and dances because
Yeah.
so I'm sorry if it's a bit of an unbalanced.
No, that's totally fine. I love it. And I'll definitely link if people here have listened to Nicole from the Vibrant Teaching Community. She has a new video introducing and focusing on my lyrical notebook. So I'll link that video too, because it's a fabulous walkthrough. And one thing I did think we could touch on in the my lyrical notebook that we hadn't discussed yet, but you had actually got your students to give you some notes to
Oh yeah,
create
that's
a piece. So let's just chat about that one.
okay. So I went through a dry period.
Yeah.
And so I asked three siblings whom I was teaching, could you name me some random notes? Leah said F sharp, which I translated to G flat.
Yeah.
And then I think Johnny said B flat. And then Josie said C. So then I thought, oh, this is a very interesting, this reminds me of Debussy. It's got that kind of so and I love impressionist music. I love
Yes.
Debussy. And
And
as soon as they mentioned it, I thought I think I can work with that.
yeah.
But when I feel dry, when I haven't got many ideas, all I need to do is go and take a walk, go somewhere, meet
Yeah.
someone, play somebody else's music, listen to other people's music, and try and get inspiration from nature, from yeah things
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, I love that. And I know your mind works very well in the moment too. I think I heard of you writing a piece in traffic as well. Is that the right one I'm thinking of?
But I did write Somerset Clouds in the car
Oh,
because we
that's
so we were traveling. And there's this huge landscape of clouds coming in from one side to another, and the cloud formations were just
wow.
amazing, absolutely amazing. And I had a bit of manuscript paper with me,
Yeah.
and I started writing notes in the car.
Oh, wow.
Started hearing music in my head when I saw
Wow.
these clouds, and I took a photo of it and sent it to Nicholas. It was hilarious.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so that's Somerset Clouds. floating chords in it.
Yeah. Well, that's tremendous. And I think it just gives people who play your music and who are looking forward to playing your music, it just gives a very special glimpse into that aspect of creativity and all the love and care and hard work that goes into composing music for others. And I hope that that creates a ripple effect of people that really get excited about playing music from contemporary composers. So thank you, Angeline, today for the gift of your time. I feel honored to have this visit with you and so appreciate you being here.
And thank you, Amy, for all your encouragement, your support, and everything that you've done for me. I don't think I'll be here without your support. So
Oh.
thank you so much.
You're very welcome. For those curious to find out more about your music, I will definitely be linking the website to Musica Ferrum and some other places you can find Angeline's music. You can listen to her recordings on YouTube from both Nicholas and yourself, as well as some of your SoundCloud recordings, and both tremendous gifts to our musical community. So thank you so much, Angeline, and I will pause the recording and I'll see you behind the scenes.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye.
Bye bye.